the busier you do get, me too, the more anxious I get.
Me
and
too.
That's the problem. It's like, how do you calm that anxiety from all the other things that are good?
I use breath work a lot to reset my body and my mind, because I find that, you know, your breath controls so much. Your breath controls your emotions, activity in your mind, how fast or slow your mind is going. The only thing that's helped me is taking breaths during my day. Like seriously, deep breaths where I'm really filling up every part of my body, and it has been a game changer for me. I tell people sometimes, oh, I went for a 2-hour walk, and they're like, 2-hour walk, that's so long. And I'm like, 2 hours of movement of my body in the 22 hours that we're stagnant. If you think about it in that way, it's not long. How much of your life even is that? How much of your day is that you're spending that time with yourself? One thing that she does, maybe not that one. Okay, so this is how she always Okay, so she's always dressed up, like Dolce & Gabbana. She's like fully kitted out all the time. I'm doing a little collaboration with her. She's coming to LA, and I'm doing like a food collab with her.
Oh, that makes sense because of what you do for a living.
Yes, but she was like, just letting you know, I'm going to send over the videos of pictures of my outfits. I'm probably going to be wearing Dolce & Gabbana. I was like, so you're not going to be wearing sweats? She was like, no. And we were just having a conversation because she's always so dressed up, and I'm always so dressed down.
You dress. I was going to say, you actually look dressed up right now.
Thank you.
I was going to say,
these are really comfortable.
Those are?
Yeah. Oh my God, these are like joggers.
No way.
Yeah,
so
look.
are these? These are joggers.
Yeah.
No, where'd you get those?
These are this brand called, I'm going to butcher the name, is Manire de... I'm going to send it to you.
Will you send it to me? Those are really nice.
Oh, thank you.
Because I even hate wearing jeans. So these
Me
are like
too.
sweatpants jeans.
I've got them. Are they from...
Rag and Bone?
Yes.
Yes. I have like them in every color.
They're so good.
Yeah, because they're so comfortable.
Well, Jay had them because I think they're unisex. So then I stole his.
Exactly. They're so comfortable. They're my favorite.
But now I'm going to have to dress up for Pasta Queen because she was like, no, you better dress up. I was like... Okay.
I don't think you should, because this is your look and it works. You know, like I don't want to talk to you too much because I'm going to ask you all these questions.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, I don't want to even say, because I saw an ad and you know what I'm talking about, and like you look perfect in that ad.
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you. It was fun, but also scary. Like, I've never done stuff like that before.
I know. Well, that was what, like, your whole evolution. Wait, can I start? Because I feel like...
I know, okay.
I know, I'm going to ask you all these... I'm going to do a proper intro later.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to, like, you know... I'm not Elisa Bilyeu, who has the best intros in the world.
She is so gangster with her intros.
Oh, my God. It's unbelievable. I've been on that podcast a few times, and I hope we're running... Lisa Bilyeu, this is a shout-out to you.
We love you.
Yeah, we love you. Her, like, whenever she does my intro... It's like the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
I feel so hyped up when she does the intro.
It's unbelievable.
Every time, and it's every single time. I think I've gone on 3 times now, and every single time she has something new to say. And I feel like it's one of those, you know, when you've got a speech about you coming out, or you're going onto stage to get an award. She gives award-winning speeches.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
I always feel so uncomfortable because it's like so flattering every time, and then they're like, and here she is, and then you have to like live up to that intro. It's so
but it's so sweet to have people that see the world through those eyes, like to have such complimentary eyes to other people.
100%. It's so true. But the whole experience, you know, when you walk in and there's a picture of you on
everything. There's so much detail put into it.
So attention to detail. I'm sorry, you come over here, you're like walking through the trampoline and the soccer ball.
No, I got to see your daughter. That was like the gift, honestly.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I'm really happy to have you because
thank you.
We have met very briefly through at Lisa's house. You didn't even, like I said, you probably didn't remember because you were sitting at in the movie theater or whatever it was. And I ran in, ran out. And was like, hey, whatever. But this is like, you already, in the 10 minutes I've been speaking to you, live up to your reputation. You're so lovely.
You. So are you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to be here.
Oh, I'm grateful for having you, really. And I can't believe how much you and your husband look alike. It is so crazy to me.
Yeah, no, I feel like I walked in 3 minutes and you're like, I just need to tell you. You and your husband look identical.
It's like unbelievable. Like I've never seen 2 people look that similar.
It's so funny. We get that so much. I always wonder, I'm like, one day I should just shave my hair off and see the resemblance. I was saying to you, I don't really see it. I think it's because I see our features so much and I see the differences in them. So I recognize the eyes part of it.
Yeah. Well, that's very right away. By the way, not everybody. It's very
iron skin color as well. It's a rare combination. So I think people end up
a really rare
Yeah.
combination. It's a beautiful combination.
you.
And like, did you guys? Okay, I have a question. I want to go back from an origin story point of
Yeah.
view for 1 second. I wasn't even going to ask you about this, but we might as
Please.
well. Like, how long did you guys even know each other when you guys met? Because like, did you guys automatically gravitate to each other because of the way you guys look? Because they say, like, there's all this research that says couples, you end up like resembling each other.
Yeah, they do. Honestly, I met him actually. The first time I ever interacted with him or even saw him was when he was training to be a monk. And so he was already in robes. He had his head shaved. He looked really different. Not really different, but quite different to how he looks now.
Okay.
I thought he was cool, but I really wasn't looking at him in that way because he was robed up and it wasn't
It's like a monk.
Yeah, it wasn't that kind of environment. And so, yes,
What year was that though? That must have been.
God, that was before. That was like 2009. I'm gonna say 2009, 2008, maybe.
Oh wow, such a long time.
Yeah, it was a while ago, and so it was very brief. It was almost just like, this is this person, hello, and that was basically it. And
Who introduced you? Just
my mom.
Like mom, okay.
Yeah, my mom had actually met him at the temple that he was part of when he was doing his training, and then I happened to be at the temple. My mom was like, "This is the person that showed me around the first time I met." I was like, "Hi, how are you?" Hi, how are you? That was literally the interaction that we had.
Wow.
And so when I first met him, I thought he was very cool. I'd had him speak. I thought he was an incredible speaker. And he really helped me through the classes I went to that he was teaching, understand my own spiritual path better. So I really admired him for that.
He was doing that back then.
Yeah, he's been doing it for years, just in different settings. He had like 3 people in the class when I was going to his stuff.
Get out.
Yeah.
So you met him as kind of like a student.
Yes.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did. And so met him then, very different situation. And yeah, I wouldn't say I was like, oh my gosh, I'm attracted to him in that way.
Yeah.
It was more, wow, this is really cool that this guy has left uni, left college, and chosen to take this path. I was intrigued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happened? How did you go on a first date then?
So fast forward a good few years, he was training to be a monk when I met him. He became a monk. He was a monk for a few years. And then I knew when I started interacting with the temple that he was training at, he was between India and this temple, so he would go away for ages. But I was part of his classes when he came back to London. So when he would teach, I would be part of the students that were in his class. And I was also really good friends with his sister. So then when he left being a monk, which I think was around 2013 or was it 14? I'm really bad with numbers.
I could check the book.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember either.
When he left, I was already really good friends with his sister. Me and him started speaking, and it was a really easy connection because we both had the same foundations that we wanted. I know I wanted someone who was deeply spiritual, or at least wanting that path. And at that time, that was the only thing that was really important to me because I was really trying to invest into it. And luckily, neither of us were psycho. So we all both ended up getting on.
And you look exactly the same.
And apparently look exactly the same.
You didn't notice back then that you guys, no one told you even back then you guys are identical twins?
The only thing that really stood out was obviously our eyes. But at the time, he also was like fully shaved head.
Yes, I know.
So the whole
thing didn't even like... Wow. So you guys have been together because you guys are both, you're young. You're not an old person. So you've been, so you've been with them for almost like half of your life, basically.
At least, 20, it's like nearly 10 years.
You've been married for 10 years?
No, together. Like we started dating around that time. So we've been together. We've been married for 5 years. No, we've been married for 2016.
That's
we married for 7 years.
7 years, but together for 10 years.
Yes.
Wow. So you guys, you have been with each other like, through the whole evolution, even of his path.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, I met him way before he started any of this. And then, we started dating when he just, he'd finished being at the temple and he wasn't a monk anymore. And so he was starting from scratch, basically. Yeah.
This is amazing. What I love about, like, I mean, I know nothing about you as a couple, of course, but like from what you see, it seems that you guys are perfectly matched. I mean, everyone always, not because you guys just look alike, but your energy. But what I love is that whenever I hear about people who were together before they had great success and they still are together, it's like such a nice thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't, in LA especially, you don't see that, right?
Yeah.
Like people don't have loyalty. They kind of get ahead of, like, they get a big head. They think that they go on to bigger, better, both on both sides, right?
Yeah, it's been easy for me, honestly, because Jay has been had the same intention, the same intent. Like, he's been the same person, even though externally probably looks like it's changed a lot. In terms of the person he is behind closed doors, he has literally been the same person with the same intention since I met him. And so there hasn't really been this. I've had to adapt externally to our living environment and maybe, you know, the time that we potentially spend together because of timings and the way he has to travel. But in terms of quality and the type of person that he is, it's really stayed the same. And he's had the same desires from the moment I met him. And so it hasn't been difficult in that sense because I haven't had to see a shift in character. And I think that makes a huge difference. It's like, even if your externals change, to have someone who's the same character with you throughout the time. Of course, we change in terms of what we like, what we don't like, the things we want to do. I've changed so much as a person since he's met me. So I feel bad for him because I've changed so much.
Well, I want to ask you about that because, like, if that was always his path and goal, like, because you were a dietitian in a hospital, right?
I was, yeah.
And so that's a very different life than you are, right? Than you are now. So, like, you're into all this wellness, and you're obviously a chef. Oh, by the way, you're a vegan chef. So
I'm a vegan chef, yeah.
that means you eat no meat ever, right? Okay, because I thought I saw someone. I thought I saw something. I could have misunderstood it. But so you're a vegan chef. You're into wellness. You meditate all the time. All these things, and now you have this, like, huge platform. What? And this was never really your plan. So was it like, was it because, like you were saying, you were on the path with Jay, and so it kind of, like, naturally became yours, or how did you kind of start?
I would say I definitely struggled at the beginning in terms of, so I never ever in my life, even when I used to see people on TV or used to see things like that, it was never a desire that I had of, oh, I want to be that. I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'd see it as an art form, or I'd see it as, it was never something in my mind that was like, oh, I want to do this, or was attainable.
Yeah.
And so I was really happy. I always wanted to work with children. And so I was training to be a pediatric dietitian. That was my goal and my dream. I actually just started working when we then ended up having to move to New York for Jay's work. And so it was a big adjustment for me because I'd been studying for 6 years, and then I worked for about a couple of months, and then to do the job that I always wanted to do. And then I'm like, oh, I have to start all over because I couldn't work when I was in New York. And
the visa?
Yeah, the visa. Yeah. And even the dietetic degree I would have had to do a whole other studying process to actually do something in the US.
Was it a different?
Yeah, there's, like, different qualifications you have to do in the US compared to the UK.
I wonder what they are. I'm Canadian. I know it may have been.
I think Canada and the UK are
very similar.
Yeah, but the US is a bit different. And so I kind of got to New York and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I went through a whole process there of figuring out what I wanted to do. But I will say that when it came to the online platform and growing that, it was honestly, and I always say this openly, it was definitely, people just wanted to know who Jay was married to. And so what would happen is I actually had a private account to start off with, and it was called Veggie Vegan Veda. I was just sharing recipes that I was making because I had a lot of time and I loved cooking anyway. And so my friends would be like, how did you make this? Or how did you make that? And so I decided to make it a platform where I was just sharing recipes and knowledge. It was really very rarely me. It was a lot to do with just food.
Yeah.
And then when I started getting all these requests, and I guess I went through a phase where I was like, I went through the thought process of either I can figure out what I want to share with people and make it something that hopefully will benefit them, open up my page, because it's obviously coming to me. And so if people are coming to me, I need to decide what I'm giving them versus them coming to me and just it being a platform where I'm just sharing me and Jay, which I try not to do because that's something that I feel is very personal to us.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want it to become like a me and Jay fan page. I didn't want to do that in any way.
Yeah.
So I just started sharing everything I was learning. And at that point of time, I was going through my own growth phase of figuring out what the hell am I going to do? So I was studying, I was going to yoga teacher training, I was figuring myself out. And so I just started pouring everything I was learning and then pouring it online. And so then slowly, I guess, things started to grow. But naturally, I think it's just, I don't hide from the fact that it was to do with obviously people just wanting to find out more about Jay.
Yeah, I like but I think it is your like honesty and earnestness that our people are attracted to.
Thank you.
No, I really think that it is like, so like that is of course like how things happen.
Yes.
But you've used it in such a positive way, which I think is nice. And first of all, I got to tell you, I'm not even a vegan, but I remember years back when I was like going through some stuff of yours that I was like looking at your recipes years ago when it was just recipes.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And I was, because my husband doesn't eat meat, whatever. And I remember like it was some of your recipes and you're like a really good cook or chef.
you.
Like, did you go to school for that, or
No,
just
I
that's
didn't.
just natural?
So I did my nutrition and dietetics degree, and then after that, well, I always used to love learning from my mom. My mom is an incredible cook. Like she, everything from I was born vegetarian, and then
you were born vegetarian.
Yeah, I was born vegetarian, and then I turned vegan about 10 years ago. And my mom has taken everything from our gluten-free phases to being vegan to making amazing, like there was nothing that I couldn't eat or felt like I wasn't able to eat because my mom would make a different version of it.
Really?
Yeah, she was so good. And we had fresh meals on the table every single day, even though she worked full time. She would experiment with foods from wherever we traveled to. She would bring it into the kitchen. And I loved eating her food, but then also just loved learning it because it was such a love language of hers. And I think it's definitely poured into me, whereas food is my love language to other people.
What? So do you still cook like that? Like all the time?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, all the time. I love cooking. And I think when I actually, to be honest, when I made my book that I recently did, I felt like it was a mixture of I love doing it, but at the same time, it felt like it drained a lot of the creative energy out of me, where food then became work and it wasn't my joy. And so I actually felt like I had a bit of PTSD after creating that cookbook, because I was like, wow, I've fallen out of love with even doing something that was so important to me. It was the place where I would release emotion. The kitchen was the place where I would pour love into.
Yeah.
And so I had to take a big gap of not cooking, and I would be like, Jay, I really cannot cook. And like I need a break, and I'm gonna have to not do anything. And if I do, it's gonna have to be really basic stuff because I have no desire to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then I've slowly got the love back for it again, thank God. But yeah, I do try and cook. I mean, as much and whenever I can.
You know what I find interesting that you say that, because I do believe there's something to be said about there's like this, like, of course, the mantras or this idea that turning your passion into what you do for a living. And I found, you know, back in my whole, I guess my background and what I do, I started off with like a lot of fitness stuff because I loved fitness so much. And because of that, I had companies in fitness. I wrote books in fitness. And I became so burnt out from fitness because I was writing about it all the time and doing videos about it all the time. And like, it became like my passion actually became like the thing that I wanted to do the least amount.
And it's scary when that happens.
Yeah. And I think it does. I think that's like, you just get fatigued on something and burnt out. Like I want, like, I don't know, maybe you can even answer this, but like, where is like the happy medium
between the two?
Between the two.
I don't know. I was trying to think that too, because I was really excited. You know, I've learned so much through this book that I was really excited to think about my next book.
Yeah.
But the thing that's scaring me is the lack of love that will come from it. Like my mom has never made cooking into a business. It's always been to feed us, to feed other people. There's almost like an innocence that is kept when you keep something to just serving other people or something you're utilizing to make other people happy.
Yeah.
And then when you make, and I think it really is intention. So when I keep remembering and reminding myself that everything that is in this book is something I've either learned from other people that I feel so grateful to learn and want to pass on to other people, or it's food that's made me so happy and has changed me and my body so much that I see it as a gift and I'm passing it on as a gift.
Right.
And so I try to remind myself of that rather than thinking of it as work or as business or as anything to do with money. I'm trying to see it as, if I love something so much and it's changed my life so much, it would be a dishonor to that to not share it and pass it on to other people.
Right.
And so reminding myself of that helps me to keep falling back in love with it.
Right.
And so I do think it's more to do with intention. As soon as your intention changes with something, which for me, I really despise numbers. I don't like thinking about sales and I don't like thinking about the numbers of views. I don't like that. And as soon as I end up changing my mindset and fixating on that, it drains the love out of it. Right. No. And so, yeah.
How are you able to do that though? Because when you, like, I mean, again, I'm asking more out of curiosity for myself, because I feel you're right. When you I think when you put a number to something that that you're quantifying
Yeah.
what, like, for example, like when you fit the fitness spheres or like Instagram or whatever, automatically it becomes a business, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're looking at
Book sales.
book sales.
I know my
following
publisher's always
count.
like, we've got this many numbers, we need to hit this. And I'm like, I'm trying my best, but you're stressing me out.
I know, exactly. And then I think something happens within like the frequency or the energy where it actually makes it worse.
It does.
You know, it does. It's opposed to just like doing something because you like to do it and like let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, and let it flow.
Right.
I think there is a balance, and honestly, I wish I had the answer, but I don't, because I feel like I'm still so baby and brand new in this world. I still feel that way.
Really?
Yeah, I really do, because if I'm honest, like I was doing my stuff only really shifted, I'd say, into a business format or even thinking about it as business, like maybe 8 months ago when I got my first assistant, and
Really?
I only got the girl that helps me with social media 3 months ago. And so I was doing everything myself when I wanted, with no strategy, no idea of what I was posting the next day. Everything was like off a whim, and there was no plan in place at all. And so the only thing that really got
great.
me, great, and also
Yeah, I know.
not
But also-
but also only really put me into gear when I started writing a book. And I was like, well, if I really want to sell this, and I poured 2.5 of my 2.5 years of my life into this book, and that's how long a cookbook takes. The process is so long.
A cookbook takes 2.5 years.
Yeah,
'Cause
from starting to write to the point of release. Yeah.
Because regular books take about 2 years, I guess, a year and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
A long time. But I guess with the recipes, you gotta like figure out the proportions for every.
Oh, you have to write all the recipes, which took me months.
Did you write all the recipes?
I wrote all the recipes. I was in my kitchen in LA and mostly in London with my mum for about 5 months nonstop. I was testing and writing the recipes. I wrote over 190 recipes.
Really?
And I was like to my publishers, can't I put all of them in this book? And they were like, absolutely not. So I had to cut them down, which was like literally tearing away parts of me when I had to decide which ones I had got to keep in this book.
How many recipes are in the book?
About 130.
Oh, wow. So 60
cut down a lot.
60.
Yeah.
That's a lot of recipes, though.
I know. Well, I had to push for that. It was meant to be 100. I was like, please don't do that to me. Can I have a few more?
That's a lot of recipes.
Yeah.
And like your mom helped you like create them.
My mom helped. My mom's incredible with taste and flavor. So I would always test the recipes. She'd try them. My dad would try them. They were basically my free testers. That's what they were. They would just test all my recipes, and then we'd refine them. And then it has to go to an actual official external tester. So you have to send all your recipes to a tester to test them before you even put it into the book. Then you have someone that helps you write the content in the right way, write out the method, I've weaved a lot of wellness throughout the book as well. So it's not just recipes. There's a whole wellness guide that's weaved throughout the different categories.
Oh.
There's everything from like my morning routine to how to understand and use spices to heal your body to
I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like turmeric and all the other
yes,
stuff.
exactly.
There's so many health benefits to all of these spices.
Growing up Indian, I had a bit of a benefit or advantage because spices were just part of our DNA and our tradition. Every single day food would be filled with spices. But my mum also used to use them to heal us. So whenever I would have a cough or cold, she would use this spice called ajwain, which is incredible. It helps to take out all the phlegm and all the gunk that's,
What's it called?
It's called ajwain. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'll send it to you.
Will you send it to me?
Yeah, I will.
Where do you get that?
You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on, it's more of an Indian spice, but you can get it everywhere now. And it's incredible. You just boil it in hot water with ginger and with lemon. And it's, a lot of cough medicines, they suppress our the symptoms.
Yeah.
Whereas ajwain is an expellant. And so what it does is it kind of brings everything up and out of your body. And it's incredible. It helps to relieve temperature. Like if you get a temperature, it helps to get out all the phlegm and the gunk that accumulates when you've got congestion.
You should do a book on this. I think this is
I really want to.
interesting.
So my next year is going to be spent studying because I've realized that you go through periods. I feel I go through periods where I'm learning and then I'm sharing and then I'm learning and then I'm sharing. And I find it hard to do both at the same time.
Yeah.
But I got to the end of this book and I was like, I feel like I'm running really low on inspiration, on creativity, and on information. And I feel like when you get to that point, you have to become a student again.
Yeah.
And so I'm so excited because this next year, as much as I am going to focus on sharing the book with people, I want it to be my year of learning and exploring and expanding again, because I really miss doing that. And I think when you stop being a student, you really feel a lack in your life.
I think that's so true. You stop growing, right?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
It's a very stagnant feeling. So that's one spice. By the way, can you cook with that spice? Where would you put
all the
that?
time.
Where would you put that in?
So with all spices,
I'm like obsessed with this type of thing.
Okay, great. Yeah. So with all spices, you should, I don't know whether people know this, but when you add heat to it, so when you either dry roast or ideally cook it in fat, it actually releases the aromatic properties, and also the healing properties of the spice become more available. And so I recommend with all spices, you either dry toast them, or if you're using them in curries, or you can grind them up and use powders in your smoothies, like cardamom. Cardamom is this amazing sweet spice.
Yeah.
It has so many incredible benefits, and I use them inside my smoothies. I'll put them into desserts, but I'll also put them into curries. And so you can I recommend heating spices and then using them, but a lot of them can just be used in hot milk or hot water.
So then how would you use the cardamom? Okay, so if I were to put that in a smoothie, it's going to cold ingredients.
Yeah. So how would you warm it? So ideally,
how would you warm it?
So what you could do is you could dry roast the whole spice, and then you
you're
can
not
grind
buying
it up.
it. Sorry, you're not buying it like
in a powder.
In a powder.
So you can,
That's the problem.
but the thing is with spices, as soon as you grind up a spice from its whole form, it starts to lose its aromatic qualities, and it starts to diminish its. It's the same as when...
Potency, probably?
Yeah, the potency. That's the word I'm looking for. As soon as you grind that up, it's like as soon as you pick a fresh, herb or a basil leaf or something. If you pick that, you see it's away from its source, and so it starts to wilt. And so whole spices are the same. As soon as it starts to interact with air and with the qualities around, if it's taken out of its bottle, it's gonna start diminishing in quality.
So where would I buy that? Like, where would I buy like a full...
I mean, now what's amazing is Amazon has incredible organic spices. Whole Foods has incredible whole spices.
In its full form?
Yeah, in its full form.
On Amazon, I can buy that?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Otherwise, Indian shops. If all else fails, Indian shops have all the spices you possibly need.
In LA, can you tell me which one to go to?
Oh, yeah,
I'm going to go.
There's Indian Sweets and Spices, it's called, and there's like...
A lot of them?
There's one close to here, honestly. Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
So what do you think of it? Now I'm literally love all this.
No, this is great.
Okay, like turmeric, right? Because I put it on like my chicken.
Yes.
And I put it with olive oil and all these other things because of the fat thing that you were mentioning, because it helps with the absorption, and I guess getting the ingredients into I don't know, all that stuff that you just said. So if I were just to put turmeric into a shake from a bottle, it's not going to be effective, right? Or I should just buy like a turmeric root, probably.
Yeah, turmeric root is incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing, but it's very messy. That's what I used to do.
So messy. The color gets everywhere.
Everywhere. It was all, like, I had it all over my clothes, all over the kitchen.
It's not that it's not gonna help. It's that it's gonna be of lower potency. So I always say that, like, it's about the quality, right? There's always gonna be a spectrum of quality of the ingredients that you get.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think you have to pick your, what's the word? You have to pick your battles. Like, I always think about this, like there's a 70-30, or you could even live by an 80-20 rule, or if you can, a 90-10 rule, where you decide this proportion of the time, I'm going to try my best to get this. These are the ingredients I'm going to get best quality. And then these are the ingredients that, it's too difficult and I'm not going to worry too much about it.
Right.
Because you can't get everything perfect. And you can't get everything in the best quality. It's just too difficult.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, give me one more spice that has, like, tell me another one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the spices I have every single morning without fail. There's this Ayurvedic trio. It's like the queen of all spice blends. It's called CCF. So it's coriander, cumin, and fennel. Okay. So you get the whole seeds of coriander, whole seeds of cumin, and whole seeds of fennel seeds. You can mix them all. It's equal batches. You do one part of each. So you can make up a whole batch of 1 cup of each thing and mix it up, put it in a jar. I take a tablespoon of it every morning, put it into a pan with hot water, and I'll boil it. And I drink that tea in the morning every single day. It is incredible to, one, ignite your digestive juices and fires, to help detox your different organs like your livers, your kidney. And also, if you think about it in the morning, your body has accumulated 8 hours you've been sleeping is when your body detoxes. And so all these toxins are actually kind of just going around your body ready to be released. So if you don't end up releasing them through your,
go ahead,
poop and wee,
yeah.
they're also still there in your bloodstream. So this CCF blend is a really subtle spice blend that helps to detox your body, release the toxins out, and get you started for the rest of your day. It's incredible.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to start using this. This is actually very practical.
It's so great.
Actionable things people can do.
And for people who get acid reflux or, get a lot of heat that accumulates in your body, fennel seeds and coriander seeds are so cooling. So they help to also reduce inflammation. We've all got so much inflammation in our body. Environment, the food that we eat. And so these spices help to reduce the inflammation in the body too.
And you kind of grew up like this, so you don't know any different.
Well, I grew up and I took it for granted, and I wasn't taught it in that way. I just knew my mom makes me this when I'm unwell. My mom does this for me when I have a cough or a cold. But when I studied Ayurveda is when I realized, wow, like my spice box, and I can honestly say this, I use my spice box as my medicine box. I believe it's incredible for prevention. I think it's incredible for curing different diseases that you have in the body. But see it as your armor. Like that's how I see it. If I know I'm getting spices in throughout the day, I feel protected, just like when you go out and you're wearing your coats and your jackets and stuff, like spices are going to be that for you.
So wait, so the one that you just said, that recipe
CCF.
for the CCF it's called, how is it, because what I've been doing is I just drink room temperature water and I squeeze a lemon in there as a way to detox in the morning. But is that what you're talking about? So much more effective in terms of?
I'd say so, because the spices are just so potent. Yeah, so potent, and you'll feel it. I remember I told my friend about this who gets a lot of acid reflux when she was pregnant, and she was just really struggling to even keep food down. She started drinking this tea, but she would soak it in water overnight and then she'd drink it because she didn't want to have it hot every day. Yeah, and she said I've had so many people tell me it's made a difference, but that for me, I was really happy for her because she was pregnant, she was feeling uncomfortable, but that CCF drink, it just really changed so much for her.
Wait, is that recipe in the book?
It is in the book.
Oh my gosh, I don't have a book, by the way.
No, I don't have a book either.
Okay,
I would have given you the book if I
would actually buy this book because, I'm serious,
you.
because I love that kind of stuff, because it's actually, the problem I find with wellness a lot of time, wellness, health, whatever, there's so many different euphemisms we can use. There's too many. Yeah. But it's the same thing that people say over and over again. Do the cold plunge, do the sauna, eat this way, exercise that way. When the truth is there's a plethora of things to do and modalities that work for you that might not work for me. There's so much out there, and it's really becomes like a trial and error.
Well, that's what it should be. Yeah. Like I think about that that's why I fell in love with Ayurveda, because it's so old. It's like over 5,000 years old. It's the most ancient health science to exist. But what I loved most about it is that it is all to do with the individual. Yeah. But that takes work. So instead, and that's what my really, and I'm not just trying to plug my book, but that's what I've shared so much of in my book is, don't use these recipes as I've written them. Use them as your body needs them. Yeah. So through my book, I want you to learn how to intuitively listen to your body, how to understand what this food does for your body, so you know which spices your body needs. Right. We've gotten so used to putting our health into other people's hands, and that scares me so much for the world, because we're saying that when this Instagram person tells me this workout works for them, it's going to work for me. And even though I'm getting exhausted after doing it, even though my body's not responding to it, I'm going to keep doing it because that person told me it's good. And this food that this person's eating that they said has given them X amount of weight loss and has done this for them, I'm going to do it because that's what I'm trying to achieve in my body, without realizing that my body is completely different and it may not have the same effect. Yeah. And so I think what we really need to do is strip everything back and start listening to our body from a point of view of, let me see every single time I eat this ingredient, how does it affect? So it is work. Like, it's easier to believe that this person's going to solve my issue. That's what it's a form of laziness in a way, but not in a negative way, but like, it's because that's what we're told to do.
Right. And it's like my friend says it's like infobesity in a way. There's too much information. Oh my gosh,
yes, that's a great word.
It's a great word because there's so much information, it's overloaded. And it's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. And you get very confused. confused, like who to listen to, what to listen to. So what happens, I'm sure you can relate, you end up doing a smorgasbord of a bunch
Oh my
of
God,
things,
always.
right?
I did that with workouts. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
My trainer would always be like, you need to stop doing this. I was doing weights in the morning, Pilates at night, boxing the next day, this the next day. I was like,
Yes.
I have to do it all, and that's what's going to make me feel good.
Exactly.
And I was overstraining my body, and I was not listening to what my body actually needed.
Yeah. And you probably got adrenal fatigue because
I
you
did.
just, yeah.
Yeah, I really did. But I honestly think that, and it is that we have this savior complex of like, we want other people to save us. And it's not our fault. It's because we're told whenever you feel sick, go to a doctor. I'm not saying not to go to a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we're told you start getting anything, go to a doctor. Then you listen to what the doctor says, you follow that. If you go online, you're told, do this, for this and do this for this.
Totally.
And what we're missing is the step of saying, do this, try it for a week, see how your body responds.
Yeah.
Do this for a month. It's going to be a slow process. You may not see the results straight away, but try it out, see how your body responds to it.
Totally.
And so that's really like, if I think about what I poured into this book, it was understanding how spices can heal your body and understand your body and the food you're eating and how they relate to each other.
Yeah.
So you feel empowered and you understand that I can heal my body in many ways myself.
Yeah.
And I think if hopefully we can start shifting people into that mentality, it's going to change so much.
I agree. Do you take supplements then? Like actual supplements?
I do. But honestly, I don't take that many because I get my blood work done regularly to find out what I'm deficient in.
Right. How often do you get your blood work?
Like every 6 months. I think the body changes so much.
Exactly. You have
and so
to
I really recommend doing it if you can.
Who do you, like, what kind of person, do you go to a regular doctor?
I actually start going to Next Health here.
Yeah, that's my friend.
Darshan.
Darshan.
Yeah, he's so lovely.
Yes, Darshan. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Darshan. So
he's also Indian, right? Like,
yes,
of
he
course.
is. Yes. So we started going to Next Health. So we get my test done. The only thing I've been told that I'm deficient in is vitamin D, which is really normal for especially people with my skin color. It's like,
but they say that with everybody.
It is,
like,
yeah.
I think everybody's
the
deficient.
quality of the vitamin D we get is not great. So I just started taking shots, and that's been really helping me.
Oh, shots, not the supplement.
No, I found that
Oh.
my levels were so low. I prefer liquid forms of most supplements. I think they absorb far better.
Way better. And also the capsule, you don't know what the capsule's made of.
Capsules also upset my stomach sometimes. And so I find that whenever it's the cellulose capsules, or if I especially have it on an empty stomach, it makes me feel really vommy. And I think I've heard a lot of people say that
A lot of people.
So I prefer getting the shots. I found that was the most, and again, I had to see, I would be taking vitamin D supplements. I'd be like, I'm still feeling so exhausted. I'm waking up after 8 hours of sleep and I'm feeling so tired.
Yeah.
And my mood's all over the place. Like I wasn't feeling good. So I had to recognize that I've been taking these supplements for 3 months. They don't seem to be making a difference.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out an alternate route of, I need to find another thing to try out. And so vitamin D is really the only proper supplement I take. And then I take ashwagandha for stress and energy levels.
But in a supplement form or in another
In a
form?
powder form.
Oh, powder
I prefer
form.
powder than I do. I
Anything,
generally,
yeah.
if I can avoid capsules, I usually do.
Yeah, no, this is a really good point. I'm going to tell you why I think this is great that people don't talk about, because capsules also may not digest. You may not it may not go through your system and then you, poop it out and not even know that. But if you're in a liquid form or a powder form,
Just more chance of it absorbing.
It does. It absorbs more, but people don't know that. And so when they're thinking, well, I'm taking this, I don't feel a difference. It might be because it's just going right through your body.
And it really depends on your digestion as well. So if your digestion is really strong, you'll probably be able to digest that capsule and you'll be fine with it. But for me, I know when my immune system is low, my digestion is probably quite weak.
Yeah.
And so I personally think if you are able to get a variety of colors of fruits and vegetables and lentils and pulses, everything nature provides you with on your plate on a daily basis throughout the meals that you're having, it's quite likely that you are getting a lot of the nutrients that you already need. But if you are noticing on your blood work that you're not, then you probably need supplementation.
Right.
I don't necessarily think we need to continuously have supplementation. If you feel healthy, you feel well, like listen to your body. You don't need to be overloading it with things unnecessarily.
Unless you're deficient in it.
Yeah.
But it goes back to the whole infobesity thing, right? Because we have so much information. And let's say this influencer's like, oh, this has been the best thing in the world. And then the other one says...
I share so many supplements and I do partnerships with a lot of brands that I have tried or have liked. And I think for me, every time I think about who I partner with, I either have to have tried them out, or I need to think of, is this going to benefit someone? Because it is going to in some way. If someone may, like, I love AG greens, like AG1.
Yeah, AG1,
green.
yeah.
Yeah, I really do appreciate them. I used to have them for months, but I also change my supplements a lot because I have them for a short period of time, or I'll have them for 3 months, and then I realize maybe my body's not responding as well anymore.
Yeah.
But it was great for the time I needed it. And then I've had ritual supplements before.
Did you like the ritual ones?
Ritual, actually, I found that some of the coating of, because they have the tablets, if I had it on an empty stomach, it would upset my stomach. If I had it with food or with my smoothie, I would be fine. And if I had the peppermint one, I'd be okay. But if I had the lemon one, I wouldn't. So it was just different at different times.
It depends when you're doing it. Have you ever tried green fat? I think you would like green fat. So green fat's like a multi-fat, and it's plant-based.
Oh.
And it is a liquid form.
Oh.
It's really, and I think that you would be somebody, because, fat's really important in your body.
It is.
In terms of like your brain cognition.
It really is.
And also inflammatory responses, joints, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're a vegetarian or vegan, you got to be careful also, because
Saturated fats.
Right. Well, yeah. And also, I was going to say, because you don't know how what this, I guess, the added ingredients are coming from, right? Like how it's manufactured.
Yeah.
If you care that much, I don't know.
No, of course I do. Yeah, no, I do. And that's why I think it has to be such a personal thing. And that's why.
That's exactly
it.
And
of course, it's so nice to know the variety that's out there. That's why I love sharing different products, because so many people say, wow, this really helped me. And other people say, it really didn't work for me.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what it's about. It's about experimenting. So when someone says, I've been taking this and it's been great for me, that's great for them.
Right.
You try it, you see if it works for you. And I honestly see health as the best investment of money possible.
I agree.
I would rather not go on a vacation and spend money on getting my blood work done. I spend money on getting the right supplements for me, spend money experimenting on stuff like that, than I would taking a holiday, because my health is going to enable me to live a longer life. That holiday may not.
Yeah. And improved longer life.
Yes, exactly. Improved longer. Exactly.
Yeah. Not just living and not having quality of life.
Especially since I've hit my 30s, like I really feel your 30s are your opportunity. 30 to 40 is your opportunity to not reverse the damage you've done, but to start investing to prevent things in the future.
Yeah.
It's the era I'm using as, let me make my body as strong, as healthy as possible. So then whatever comes my way, as my body naturally will deteriorate, because that is just what life is.
Tell me about it.
As your body deteriorates,
Yes.
I'm giving myself a fighting chance to be able to do all the things I want to do in the world with a healthy body.
Yeah.
And so that's been my focus since I hit my 30s.
So then it's been ashwagandha in shakes, or like how?
Yeah, so I take protein shakes.
Yeah,
I do because I'm trying to get into a phase of building muscle and reducing my fat mass right now. And so I do take protein shakes. And again, I swap it out. Like right now I'm using what am I using right now? I'm using Rituals vanilla protein mixed with, which I really like the flavor of and the vitamins in there, mixed with, there's a new one that I got sent called Fighter. It's
Fighter?
FYTA, Fighter protein. The texture of that is amazing. It's so smooth and so delicious. And then the other one I'm using, I literally mix a few of them together sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the third one I'm using is one that I actually got from the UK. It's called Wildson, WYLDSSON or something.
And what's the breakdown? Is it like 20 grams? Because you're also, again, the vegan thing, you're not getting, you can't have.
Well, like the Fighter protein in 2 scoops has 30 grams of protein.
That's amazing.
Which is so great.
That's a really good breakdown.
It's a great breakdown. So that one's not gluten free. It's got proteins from everything from barley to wheat. So that one's not like pea protein.
Yeah, it's not pea protein.
But sometimes pea protein upsets people's stomachs. So then this is a great alternative
100%.
for that. The Ritual one, I really like the texture of it too. I usually add in like strawberries and stuff into that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And
so what's in your shake? You put I want to know your whole morning routine.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Let's start from the beginning. Okay, I don't want to, we're piecemealing it. Okay, what time do you wake up? Let's go through the whole morning.
Okay, let's do it.
Morning ritual.
My usual wake up time is between 5 and 5:30. That is my ideal.
Ideal?
Yeah, that's my ideal. But for a while I've been waking up at like 6 or something, 6:30, because I wasn't feeling very well. I was feeling quite tired. But right now we're going through this really amazing spiritual month. It's called Kartik, where you can recommit to your spiritual practices. And it's a time to just invest a little bit more. And
what is it? Yeah, tell me what this.
Yeah, so it's called Kartik. It's a Sanskrit word, and essentially it's astrologically seen to be a sacred month of spiritual practices. Like there are certain times of the year and certain times when astrology, I don't want to get into that too much because I don't know too much about it, but it seemed to be a time where the planets are all in a specific way to enable us to connect deeper.
Okay.
And so essentially what it does for me is it gives me the opportunity to reset, and I just love a reset. Like I'm a reset person. I'm like, okay, every week is a reset for me.
Yeah.
So this month it's been we're near the end of the first week, and I just made the decision that I know my spiritual practices were going up and down quite a bit, and they are really the core for me to feel okay throughout my day and to feel like I've got purpose in my life. I really struggle when they're out of whack, and so I just reset. So the first day I set my alarm for like 5:30. I was trying to wean myself up to 5 a.m. Today was my first 5 a.m. day. It's been great.
Are you exhausted by now?
No, because I've been used to waking up at that time for a while. It was just over the past couple of months after my book and stuff. I was just really, everything was all over the place, and I just found it difficult to refocus. So I would wake up around 5, and then I go to my kitchen. I make my hot water and my CCFT, take it into my meditation area with me, and then I'm meditating for an hour and a half in the morning. But bear in mind, I've been doing this for 10 years, and it's obviously taken me a while to get to this point. But it's a practice that I've committed to, and I really...
What kind of meditation is it?
I do mantra meditation.
What is it called?
Mantra.
Yeah,
mantra.
So you have a mantra and you say it over and over again. What is? Can you say what your mantra is? Are you allowed?
Mantra.
Okay.
What is? It's not. I know with TM you can't share your one. Mine is called the Hare Krishna mantra. So it's there's 3 words in it. It's Hare, Krishna, and Rama. Hare means is the feminine energy of God, like you're inviting feminine energy and the compassionate side to yourself and of God and the universe. And then Krishna means all attractive. So you're essentially saying like I attract everything attractive and good and well for my body into me. And then Rama means reservoir of pleasure. Like that's the Sanskrit translation to it. But essentially the mantra is for peace, prosperity in your life, deeper connection. There's Sanskrit words, and I just think that there are certain words that carry such deep energy with them because they've been said for years and years, and there's so much that's been poured into these words. Every word carries energy.
Yeah.
And I've tried so many mantras, and this was the mantra that I've been chanting for 10 years now. And it has just been, it's been really special. I use beads. So I have like these beads that I use to help with focus and attention, because we're so used to using our phones all the time, and you just need something in your hand. And so I have certain things that I relate to my meditation practice. The beads, I use flute music in the background to help, engage my ears when I'm meditating. And then I put on incense. That's the smell that I associate with my meditation. And I have an altar where either I'll look outside into nature, I'll close my eyes, or I have an altar which I keep some of my Indian like deities and murtis. Yeah.
So it's like a whole thing.
It is. And then in the morning we do this really beautiful practice, which my mum's...
Do you do it with your husband? You and Jay
sorry, I mean we as part of like my tradition.
Okay.
Yeah, he does this too. But
with you, do you guys meditate together?
So I naturally wake up earlier. Okay. So I wake up earlier and I start my practice, and then he'll join like an hour in or something.
Wow. Okay, go on. This is fascinating. Okay. I love it.
And so this part of my practice I really love. We offer back all the basic elements to the universe or God, whatever you want to call it or whatever you believe in. But it's the concept of let me offer back everything in the morning that I'm going to utilize during the day. So we offer back water. We offer back, I use incense, which I see as earth because it's made of sandalwood, a candle, which is fire, and then meditation, which is ether, which is sound vibration. Like the mantra meditation is sound vibration.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I just love thinking about it in the morning in that way, because essentially what you're saying is thank you, universe, thank you, God, for every single thing that keeps me alive and that allows me to exist in this world. And you do that first thing in the morning. And
for an hour and a half? Though?
Oh no, that's just a additional practice, like almost like a prayerful moment where you do that.
Okay.
But you physically do. We do a lot of prayer comes from our heart.
Yeah.
But at the altar or when you go outside, you can offer back those specific things. Like I light the incense, I light the candle. It's a physical practice that you can put into place versus it being I love prayer, but prayer is more in the mind. Whereas, when you think about when you love someone and you want to show them gratitude, a lot of the time it's an action. And so these small actions allow you to show that for God or for the universe in that way. And so I do that. I have a bit of prayer.
So that whole process though, between the hour and a half,
5:30 to about 7:30.
so 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
So you're in this space, this like in this like
My meditation
meditation
area.
area for 2 hours, and how do you sit there for an hour and a half? I guess when you have a whole like routine.
I think it's, trust me, my mind, there are times where I'm in that place physically and not mentally. There are times where I'm walking about feeling agitated. I'm on my phone, I'm distracted. But you know what? With practice and commitment comes this, I don't know, it's like the commitment breeds confidence in that practice. And for me, even if I've left the practice, even if I haven't done it right, even if I feel like not doing it, I keep showing up because I know and have felt the benefit of it. So it is difficult. It's not easy in any sense. I go up and down with my practices over and over again. And you think, and this is what I always talk to people about this, because they're like, oh, you've been doing this for 10 years. You must be so enlightened and you must be this. And I said, no, things go like this and go down like this so fast.
Yeah.
It's so difficult with the world that we live in to just be on a constant high. That's not how life works. So just like in relationships, it's the same. Everything goes up and down. You have to know that that's how your spiritual practices are going to be too. So don't be disheartened if one day you sit down and all you want to do is be on your phone. Be on your phone and meditate if that's what it's going to take.
You can do that?
No, ideally you shouldn't. But what I'm saying is if that's...
I'm like, that sounds good to me.
If you're still showing up
Yeah.
and you're still committing and you're sitting in your space and you're able to, you're meditating and then you have to write something down. And I keep a book with me sometimes because things flow through my mind and either I'm trying to hold on to it while I'm trying to meditate, and that's not helpful for anyone. So I'll use my phone, I'll write things down sometimes if my mind is racing. But what I'm saying is don't stop your commitment because you're only able to half-ass it. Like if you're gonna show up and you're still gonna do it,
it's better than zero.
It's better than zero.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about my workouts. Like I'm so committed to my workouts where even if I know I need movement in the day. So even if I don't want to do a heavyweight workout, let me go and just do a walk. But I still show up and do that. Whereas with my spiritual practices, I used to kind of shame myself and be like, well, I don't have the full hour or I don't even have these 15 minutes. So what's the point? I'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But those 15 minutes are going to make a huge difference in my day. So why not just show up for the 15 minutes?
And most of the time, when the days that you think it's going to be the worst, it actually ends up being the best.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed.
It's when you probably need it the most.
And you need it the most. And usually that 15 minutes turns into 40 minutes or longer. So you have to kind of keep on showing up and be consistent. Consistency is the key for everything.
It really is. It's for every single thing in life. I used to find it so hard to finish projects.
Yeah.
That's why my book was such a I was shocked because I'm not good at finishing things. I'm good at getting excited about it. I'm good at being the creative behind it. But finishing things has always been so difficult for me. And it's the consistency of just showing up every single day, even if I'm not in the right mindset, even if I'm not, it made me feel confident about myself.
Totally. I agree. That's how you really build true confidence, really, is that when you follow through with the commitments that you make for yourself.
I'm starting to learn that.
You know, that's what I noticed is that you can't really go out there for confidence building. You see all these videos again, like 3 ways to build self-confidence. It's all within you. Like if you're not able to follow through in your own commitment to you, then it's not real confidence.
And even when people the more that you grow online, the more that you get a community online, you have so many people telling you, you're doing great, you're amazing, you're doing this. And you can build a sense of such false confidence, but internally you don't believe in yourself at all.
Absolutely
and
not.
I've definitely gone through that rabbit hole of people telling me oh wow, you're so spiritual, oh wow, you're so this, oh wow, you're so that. And then I would have to take a serious step back and reflect and be like, I'm not doing my basics right now. So whatever they're telling you, you need to snap out of it because that's not you.
Don't be listening to what they're saying.
Don't listen to what they're saying because you are not doing the work it takes to be that. And so do the work and be that. And then what other people say, that's fine. But their perception of you is not reality. So you better start doing the work to actually live up to that.
100%. I think in general, though, I think a big issue and problem with overall that, and a big arching message with social media. And obviously I don't know where you stand with this, but this whole concept, I call it like the coddle culture, where it's like, this ideology is like, you are enough. No matter what you are enough. You are enough. And to me, it's like, I'm like, well, I mean, how do you know that I'm enough? Like if I'm not putting effort into something, right? If I'm not putting the work in, the hours, the practice of anything, it could be your health, it could be your work, it could be your kids, it could be anything, then I'm not enough.
No.
So I think
I see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I really do.
You're like you're giving people too much credit when maybe credit's not like owed.
Yeah.
And then you're giving people an excuse to be basically enough of like of not trying.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
I'm not trying.
I think that's really important to say. And I think we've got this narrative now where it's like, whatever you are is fine. And whatever you're doing, it's perfect. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, but for yourself, not for anybody else.
100%.
Know that, like, if you feel you're doing enough in yourself and you truly believe that way, great. But if you still feel like there's a lot lacking, but other people are, what happens is we're lacking, and then we fill that lack with other people's voices.
Totally.
So then it makes us feel like we're full, and it makes us feel like we're enough, but actually we still haven't done the work to get us up there. We're using other people's voices and belief in us to get us there.
Yes.
And it ends up being a false step ladder. We end up falling, which is what I go through constantly, where eventually you're going to fall from it. So people can gas you up enough and you can be floating in cloud 9, but eventually that gas is going to run out.
Yeah.
And you're going to fall flat on your face because you haven't built the steps and you haven't built the concrete foundation to get you to that level.
Absolutely. And there's a difference, I think, between actually confidence and self-esteem. I think there's a big difference. Like someone can say, yeah, you're enough, and it builds false confidence in you. But that's the stuff that doesn't last. It only it's like willpower. You can only have it for so long. So you have to build these other things, discipline and you do that through, consistency.
It's that, who are you when no one's watching?
Yeah.
I always think about that because I'm in my meditation room sometimes and I'm like looking at my phone and then I hear footsteps. I'll be like, let me put my phone away.
Right.
And I'm like, no, but what am I doing when no one is watching?
What exactly?
Yeah.
And like, so do you say to yourself, no matter what, even if you're half-assing it or like on the phone, are you not leaving that room for an hour and a half, no matter what?
I've started saying that to myself, but it's not that I won't leave the room. I might say, okay, you know what? I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to get a breath of fresh air and I'm going to come right back. But I use breath work a lot to reset my body and my mind because I find that, your breath controls so much. Your breath controls your emotions. It can control the activity in your mind. It can control how fast or slow your mind is going. And I've really noticed that because as my life has gotten busier, I've noticed my anxiety get higher. And the only thing that's helped me, and I'm doing it now because I noticed myself speaking quite fast, the only thing that's helped me is taking breaths during my day. And not just shallow breaths, like seriously deep breaths where I'm feeling it travel down my throat, travel down my stomach, really filling up every part of my body. And it has been a game changer for me. And so halfway through my meditation or even 5 minutes in, if I notice my mind is shifting or is starting to race, I'll just take a second, I'll put down my beads, I'll take a really deep breath, and then I'll restart. And I keep telling myself, I'm like, it's just one bead at a time. It's one mantra at a time. It's not, oh, this hour and a half, let me just finish it. And also I think about it this way, like I tell people sometimes, oh, I went for a 2-hour walk, and they're like, 2-hour walk, that's so long. And I'm like, 2 hours of movement of my body in the 24 hours that we are stagnant, 22 hours that we're stagnant. If you think about it in that way, it's not long. And so 2 hours of stillness in 22 hours or, the rest of the day or 14 hours, whatever it is of the day. If you think about it in that respect, how much of your life even is that? How much of your day is that you're spending that time with yourself? So I always try and put it into perspective of that. I'm like, those phone calls can wait. I've got the rest of the 8-hour workday to do that. Those conversations that I think I can't wait to have, they can also wait.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the funny thing is, not funny, the problem is the busier you do get, me too, the more anxious I get.
Me
and
too.
That's the problem. It's like, how do you calm that anxiety from all the other things that are good? And then, so you're saying that this like meditation or breath work, it actually makes the time you do have after the two,
me up for a better day.
for
It
being
really
better
does.
and more productive.
It sets me up to give more to other people because I was saying this morning. I can't remember whether I was saying online or to my friend right now, but I was saying how your spiritual connection, as soon as you feel disconnected, you're disconnecting from a source of energy and power. And so just as we have food to sustain us and our physical body, and then we have for your mentality, for your mind, you may have, I don't know, your work fuels you, different things fuel our mind.
Yeah.
But but there is another energy source that sometimes we're not even connected to, and that is our spiritual energy source. And so it's a whole source of fuel that we're actually missing out on, that's providing us this energy and this ability to give and keep. And actually, I think spiritual energy is the one that can give us the most, because it's unlimited. Our physical body can only take so much.
Exactly.
Our mental energy can only take so much, but your spiritual energy, it's almost like it tenfolds the more you do it.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed that with people, I've met such incredible, enlightened, like spiritual teachers, and their capacity to give is endless. Even if their physical body is diminishing, even if their mental health, even if they're getting dementia, their ability for gratitude to give, and the space that they have inside of them to open their heart and give to other people is endless. And I've seen that firsthand, and I'm like, wow, how are they able to have this capacity to love and give? And it's because they're connected so deeply spiritually. And so I see that in Jay so much, his capacity to give to people, and the expansiveness of his energy and physical ability only comes because of his spiritual connection.
Yeah.
And I find it's incredible to watch, because what he gets done in a day, and the capacity to which he works, and the level at which he works, I have never experienced someone firsthand do that.
Really?
His whole team are just like, how does this human do this? Because he's just so focused, and everything has come from practice, but it's also this surge of like his deep intention and belief that comes from his spiritual practices that I feel has just fueled him through his life. And
that's incredible.
Beautiful.
You know what's amazing about that? I remember now when I talked to him, he showed me on his phone or something, or I don't know, all these different like sticky notes that were different colors.
Yeah.
Does he still do that?
I think he does. Yeah.
And it, like the amount of stuff in a day are like, it's like
if you saw his
mind-boggling.
calendar, I'm like, how do you I think that, you know what, spiritual practices expand you in a way that you don't even realize. And that's why when I don't have them in place, or when they're wavering, I really struggle to make it through my day. And I always think, oh, it's because I'm not eating the right things, or I'm not getting the right vitamins. But actually, this 1 week that I have recommitted and refocused during my thing, it has brought a new life into me. And I was just like, wow, I kept saying to you, I was like, isn't it so crazy that I've been trying to supplement, and I've been trying to sleep more, and I've been trying to do all these things, but what I really needed, of course you need all of those things, but what I really was missing was this spiritual connection to myself and to God that I just had been missing for such a long time, because I'd been neglecting it for such a long time, and I just had to reprioritize.
I love that. So what exactly, so is the meditation and the breath work, that's not part of your spiritual connection, or is that the spiritual?
Yeah, that is the spiritual connection for me.
Because you said something earlier about, you called it something, Sinka, you said something.
Oh, what
you said this week it's called something.
Oh, Karthik.
Yeah, Karthik, okay.
Karthik, yeah, Karthik is just like, it's basically just a month to reconnect and like recommit to your practices.
So there was not like an actual thing that you do. It's just going back to the roots of what you normally do.
Like hey,
the breath
let me
work.
Try again. Let me reset. Let me tell myself it's okay to fail and come back to this practice. And so I wrote down at the beginning of this month all the things that I wanted to commit to. I want to read a little bit more of my, spiritual text. I want to.
What's the books that you would read?
The Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita. It's a 1,000-year-old book, but I see it as a guidebook to life. It's incredible.
What's it called?
The Bhagavad Gita.
You're gonna have to text this to me. This is fascinating, because I'm so, it's like a breath of fresh air for me, because I'm serious, because you hear people say the same things over and over again. Yeah. And these are all things that I've never really like heard before, that I think can be so helpful and beneficial for people.
Yeah, it has been for me. I can only speak for myself in all of these things, but meditation,
trial and error, right?
Trial and error. The Bhagavad Gita has been, my mom gave me this book when I went to university or college.
I say university, I'm Canadian.
Oh, you say university, yeah. My mom gave me this book when I was leaving for university, and she said, whenever you're lost, just look through this and you'll find something in there that helps you. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. And so I took it with me, didn't look at it for a year, and I went through a phase in university where I just really didn't feel like I belonged. I never drank. I found it difficult to like fit into the culture of university. Mm-hmm. And so I remember I don't know. I think it was a big drinking culture there, and I find it really hard because I just never wanted to drink. I kept thinking people felt like I wasn't taking part when I wasn't drinking, and it was, that's what the whole culture of university felt like.
Totally, it's like a big keg up, like people like just like drinking. I felt the same way. That's why I wanted to ask you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. So she gave me this book, and then eventually I started opening it, reading it. Some parts I understood, some parts I didn't. But there was always this feeling of being understood whenever I opened that book. And from that point on, I've read it many, many times. I've now studied it, and I've learned so much from it. And I really see it as a guide to life. And the essence of it is it's a soul, like a warrior talking to God. And they're on a chariot. They're in the middle of a battlefield. And you're like, how does that relate to me? But it does, because we're all on a battlefield of life.
Yeah.
And the questions that this Arjun, the warrior, is asking God, who is, is driving the chariot that he's on, about to go into war. They're having this conversation. It's basically the talk between soul and God. And that's essentially what it is. Asking questions about life, death, reincarnation, about our purpose in the world, about what we should be doing and not doing, what goodness means, what passion means, what ignorance means, like all these different topics. And I'm like, wow, so every time I revert back to that, like whenever I feel a little bit lost or feel like I need to figure out what my purpose is in the world, which, by the way, I feel like I go through all the time of like, why am I even here?
Right.
It really helps to ground me back and find some answers.
You seem pretty self-aware though, like of who you are, what you're doing, and if you don't feel that way, you kind of pivot.
I think I'm still trying to I think, what's difficult? When you have someone in your life, which is amazing, but that is so purpose driven, like Jay.
Yeah.
And I think what I did at the beginning is I jumped onto his bandwagon of like, I'll just help you do what you're doing.
Yes.
And and because what you're doing is so amazing, obviously that should be my purpose, because that seems amazing. And he never asked me to do that. It was just me thinking this is what I should be doing because he's doing it and it's amazing. The problem is when it's not your purpose, you run out of the desire or the energy to actually do it. And so I was kind of riding on his wave without actually having the deep intention of why I was doing it. And so I think I realized that a little bit late. And so I am trying to figure that out. There's a big difference between things that have come to you versus the things you should be doing. And I think I'm trying to balance that of, is social media really what I want to do, or has it just come to me?
Yeah.
Are these things that I'm doing in my life, I mean, everything, is it because it's coming to me, or is it something that I want to do? And I think next year is my era of refining that and really trying to figure that out, because I think I still haven't figured it out, because I don't know what truly makes me happy. I know my spiritual practices make me happy. And so part of me is like, why am I even doing this? Let me just shut it all down and live a really simple life, because I know that would also make me happy.
I was going to say, you seem very astute on that. And I think that's I don't hear that often, because a lot of people who are on social media and have the platforms, I'm curious, like that's now their main driver in life.
Yeah.
And that's all about how much can I grow? How much faster can I grow? What can I do with it? And the fact that you're even conflicted about, is this really what I want to be doing? Or is it because like it came to me because of Jay, is like an interesting and breath of fresh air. I'm telling you, because you don't hear that. I'm curious, how many of your friends, like your good friends, are all social media influencers? Do you have any who are just regular?
I do. Yeah, all my friends at home are
like normal. I mean, in LA.
They're not online. Oh, in LA. In LA, I have a lot of people in different
spaces.
But
still.
But I have friends that are in the same industry.
Yes.
Too.
Oh, in the food you mean, or
no,
wellness?
not in food. In social media or their online.
No, of course.
Presence, but I also have a lot of friends who are not. Yeah.
See, I think that's a big distinction. Like, I feel like to have that kind of diversity is probably important, because you forget, for me, anyway, I'm talking about myself, but if you get so mired in one way of all that.
You get to have different conversations. You get to focus on different things. Like we have, I host like a games night I do something every Friday whenever I am here. I've started doing this thing where I just plan for whichever one of my friends are available and free.
Yeah.
We will all just hang out to create community. And I don't even post about them. I haven't since I've started them. And it's nice because we all come together and no one's on their phones. And it's so wonderful. And I kind of created this culture within my friend group. And whether it's 8 people that show up or the other day 25 people that showed up, it's so lovely because it's so much of us just being together versus us, which I used to do too. Everything was filmed and everything was this is who I'm hanging out with and this is what I'm doing. And it really drained the life out of me.
Yeah.
And it drained my personality out of me. It really did.
I know, that's why I was asking more also because of me. I totally understand. And that's why it's like, it's hard though, because part of your brain is like, that's what you do because that's what you do for a living. And part of it is, it's hard to make the distinction a lot of times.
And I'm so grateful for it too. Like, don't get me wrong. I love building I love building communities, whether it's in a small way in my own home or whether it's this amazing online community. And I really understand the responsibility that it brings. And, you know, I made mistakes with partnerships that I did because, oh, I can make this much money from it. Why shouldn't I do it? I learned so much along the way. And I now realize there's such a duty and responsibility of when you build a community. But at the same time, do I want to be so out there and exposed as a person and constantly like have people knowing who I am and what I'm doing? I don't. I deep down, I don't think I do. And so I think I'm battling between the desire to share, but also the desire to be unseen. I really appreciate being unseen now.
Totally.
But then also valuing like, wow, this is such an incredible opportunity to share with so many people, and let me be a voice that is one that should be heard or like valuable. And so I think I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly. I don't know. I think I'm trying to live through it.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about content though that you do, right? It's about giving people ways that they can up-level their life in a health, wellness way. So it doesn't have to necessarily be about you personally.
Yes.
Because you
totally. And I've definitely I've taken a step back from doing a lot of personal sharing online. I think I did that a lot at the beginning. It would be where I was, my family, me and Jay, what we were doing.
We all do that because I think that's part of the whole process.
And then I think once you do it for a little bit, you realize that you kind of do want to step back a little bit and have it a bit more curated to what you want to share versus having to share a lot of your life, which you feel which you think you should.
Well, you know what I heard you say, I think on another podcast or something when I was doing my little research.
Yeah.
And I it really stuck in my brain, and I really liked the way you said it, which was that you're out there on a platform to be a positive role model, so to speak, and give people uplift people versus getting basically you can scroll through people's Instagram and feel their nervous system, so to speak, their anxiety, their depression, their angst, versus being a source of positivity or of a way to help people and give people ways to they can help benefit their lives. And you've made a distinctive effort, I feel, to do that.
I have, and I think the only way I can actually be that person is because I have such an amazing support system.
Yeah.
I have my mom who I can talk to, who, by the way, I talk to 3 times a day.
I was going to say, you must be very close to your mom because you brought her up at least 4 times already.
Have I?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally been,
I love that.
Amazing.
No, tell me.
No, I will start crying.
No, I think I love that. And when I was listening to other things that you did, that's what stuck out to me. It's you were saying, my mom used to make me
just want to say I'm on my period, okay?
No. I think it's really, I started to, because I'm a mom. So I thought, I'm going to start to cry myself because I thought, I want my kid, in 20 years from now, to talk about me in the same way that you're talking about your mom. Like you said, and it's a way that's very matter of fact. My mom used to make me carrot juice, and she'd always make me all this she'd make me all these and I was oh my God, I wonder if Dylan's going to remember how I made Dylan's my kid. I would be thinking about stuff like that, or how your mom would make you all these healthy things or gave you this for university, but you would bring her up and you bring them up, or my mom would do the recipes, my dad would try. It's so, that to me is probably why you're so the way you are, grounded, down to earth, normal. No matter how successful you are, your husband Jay is, it doesn't matter because you have a foundation that was so strong.
Yeah,
the roots are so strong.
Grateful for that, because I really didn't realize until I started. To me, my family was so normal.
Yeah.
And then I obviously grew up and I met different people from different types of backgrounds and different types of family situations. And I was wow, I only realized how grateful I was after university when me and my mum became friends versus mother and daughter.
Yeah.
And I'm so deeply grateful. She knew me before I knew myself. And I used to be no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And she's the one who recommended I do nutrition. I didn't even know what I was going to do. She was why don't you try this? I think it'll be good for you. Why don't you get into this? Did that change the full trajectory of my life? She's the one who who started my spiritual journey for me, because she recommended I read the Bhagavad Gita. She also brought me into my spiritual practices by watching her do them. And my grandma is the same. Like, they've just been such incredible anchors.
Yeah.
And so for me, having that, I'm like, how can I have a place where I can pour my anxieties. I have a place where I can feel really safe with people. And then so if I have that, then I have an opportunity to show up and be the best version of myself for people online that don't have that.
Yeah.
And I always think about it in that way, where I may be having a really crappy day and I've just been crying, but I will show up online. Doesn't mean I'm being fake. It's me sharing the ounce of joy that I do have for other people who don't have the setup I do and don't have the support system that I do.
Totally.
And yeah, I mean, I talk about my mom so much. She's like the louder character in my family, but my dad is the same. Like, my dad is this incredible person who has never spoken badly. Like, his character is so strong, but he's quiet.
Yeah,
like
silent, but yeah.
He's so quiet in the background. He's got 3 women in the house, me, my mom, my sister, and he has been the foundation of peace and tranquility and me knowing what integrity looks like as a person, and always showing up for a family, even though he was so busy. He was a refugee from like Uganda that came to UK. They both were, and they built everything from scratch. And even though he was so busy building his business, I never once felt uncared for, unloved, or not taken care of throughout my life. And so I really look back and I value that so much. And even now, he's always available to talk on the phone with me. He'll like be there to talk about anything when I need him to. He's my biggest fan. He's always watching things that I do.
Oh, that's so cute.
He's so sweet. And there are so many spiritual qualities that he had as I was growing up that I didn't realize. But imagine a dad I've never heard him talk bad about anybody. He's always like, whatever anybody's done to me. And he's had a lot done to him in his life. He's like, that's, if he's always practiced and preached what he lives. And I mean, he doesn't talk much, he just lives it, and I watch him do that.
But that's the best way to learn, is through what people do, not what anyone can say anything, right? No one can, but you have to, the best way to learn is through action, and that's what they've showed you. It's amazing. And the I wanted to ask you about the Ayurvedic, because Ayurveda, how do you call it?
Ayurveda,
the way you say it versus the way I say it.
Well, no, it's because I've grown up speaking the language. It's different.
That's probably true.
It's the pronunciation.
The pronunciation.
You're fine.
If I'm a fire, I'm Pitta.
Pitta.
What is the difference between because you learned it, how did it impact? Is that why you know about the spices? Is that why, what did you learn? And in
Ayurveda, essentially what it teaches you, so what you're talking about is your constitution.
The constitution,
So you know how we have DNA types or blood groups?
Yeah.
In the same way, in Ayurveda, you have a constitution. And so the constitution is made up of the different elements that we carry in our body. We carry earth, fire, water, air, and ether all in our body, but in different amounts. And so depending on the amounts that are within our body, you end up being a specific type, which is Kapha, Pitta, or Vata.
What are you?
I'm a mixture of Kapha and Vata.
Really?
Yeah, so Kapha is Kapha has heavier, it's earth and water together. Okay. So the positives of it is it can be very grounding and nurturing, but the negatives, when it goes out of balance, you can be quite low in mood. You can feel quite stagnant in your mind and body, because Ayurveda is amazing, incorporates body and mind. So the qualities go across both. So Pitta, for example, Jay is a Pitta. He is a prime example of a Pitta body. He is determined, focused, will get things done, unwavering. But when out of balance, it can lead to agitation because things aren't getting done in the way that you want it to.
Sounds like me. That's
fiery quality. But in body, it means he can get acid reflux, indigestion. The fire quality is so heating in his body that when it's out of balance, that's what it can cause. And so with Vata, for me, my mind is all over the place. It's air quality. So when I'm imbalanced in Vata, my mind's all over the place. I'm here and there, and I'll talk about this and then talk about that. Yeah. And then in body quality, if you think about air, how would that translate? That's to do with movement in the body. And so just like movement in the mind, it can be to do with bloating in the body or gas. So it really makes a lot of sense.
It does. How do you find out what your constitution is?
So with someone who practices Ayurveda, for example, you can look at someone's features. I can look at someone and probably guess what they are based on their eye shape, nose shape, body structure. But
Really?
yeah, you really can. But there's also a way to, one, you can take a test. There's lots of constitution tests online. It's based on your temperament, your digestion, how fine or thick or thin your hair is, the texture of your hair, there's so many. Oh my God, it's so intricate because your body's so intricate.
I know. I love that. That's why I wanted to ask. I forgot to ask you at the beginning.
I recommend doing an online test, a really extensive one. I can share one with you.
Yeah.
And then the other level is when you go to an Ayurvedic practitioner, they can do it simply from listening to your pulse. So they'll put 3 fingers on your pulse on different parts of your wrist. And depending on how slow or fast there's many pulses that go through our body, they will be able to tell you a lot just from hearing your pulse.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it's insane.
That's amazing. And then how do you, like, what's the purpose then? So let's say I'm a PITA or this person.
Yeah, everything now. So it's like, when you know your partner's love language, you can then serve them better in that way. In the same way, when you know your constitution, you then know what you should and shouldn't eat, what you can and can't, like what you should avoid, not should and shouldn't eat. But if you find yourself a little bit imbalanced where you've got overheating in your body, for example, you need to have cooler spices. You need to have foods which aren't spicy or acidic. You then need to have like drinks which are more cooling for you, or vegetables, and every single thing we eat has a specific quality. So once you learn the qualities of yourself, you then start to learn the qualities of the food that you're eating, the activities you do. A person who's high pitta or high fire do not do HIIT training or sprints, because you're increasing the fire in your body.
Yes, basically, you know what happens? Because that's what I do. I do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I like get a rash.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why? It's like
because
horrible.
It's increasing the heat in your body. And so if you do want to do that, for example, let's talk about some tips and tricks that you could do. So drink fennel water in the morning. Cool your body down before you even start doing your workouts. If you are doing that, make sure you do some slow breath work to end off your workout, to start bringing the heat down in your body.
You're a fountain of information.
There's a lot. Ayurveda is an unlimited source of knowledge. It's just insane.
Oh my God. So basically, if you're Pitta, so a lot of entrepreneurs, I would imagine, or people who are like type A personalities.
Yes, they will be Pitta.
They'll be Pitta.
But also, just FYI, just so that Ayurvedic people don't hear this and say you're telling people the wrong things. Everybody has Vata, Pitta, and Kapha in them. We all have it. Right. So it comes in percentages. So you may be 60% Kapha, 20% Pitta, and 20% Vata. Like you'll have a percentage ratio. Yeah. And then you have a constitution that you're born with. That is your baseline, like your genetic DNA. Yeah. That is your baseline. What happens is we come into contact with different environments, different foods. We go off balance. So the idea is we're constantly trying to live our life, create an external and internal environment to continuously bring us back to our original constitution.
Oh, that's
our optimal environment.
And that's the theory behind it. So do you eat everything you do is based around your...
Not everything. I mean, I want to eat a pizza. I'll eat a pizza.
I was going to say, yeah. But like I'm saying, more or less, right?
I try to. Like, I know how to adjust what I'm doing. Like, as soon as I notice there's an imbalance in my body, for example, if I'm really gassy for a long period of time, I know maybe I shouldn't be eating broccoli. Maybe I shouldn't be eating popcorn, which increases air in my body. Maybe instead, let me eat some steamed vegetables, have some grounding spices, eat some nourishing foods, which are heavier in quality to offset the vata or air quality. And so you just start learning all these little things of how to adapt to cure these little things that happen through your body.
Oh my! I think I've always been fascinated by it because it's super interesting.
It's making me. I can't wait to next year start learning about. I'm going to go deep dive.
You're going to go deep dive into that because I do find that to be super. And I also cut you off because you were talking about your morning routine. You said you.
Oh my gosh! Is that where we were?
I mean, honestly, we were like, I'm like an hour ago.
This is my Vata brain. Yeah.
It was, but maybe I have to have some Vata. Like I think I'm like mostly Pitta, but I have to have some of that Vata because I do the same thing.
I swap from one thing to another
all the time.
It's going to be a fun conversation for you all to listen to.
I was going to say.
Yeah, brace yourself. Get a big notepad and pen out to help track where we're going with this.
100%. So we just finished with your morning routine. I don't know how long. Oh my God, it's been forever. What is so you finished with the meditation?
So I then finished with my meditation. I then I work out on an empty stomach. So I'll then go and do my workout.
What is your workout? What is the workout?
So right now I'm doing a lot of weight training, like heavy lifting.
Okay.
So I love that. I go to a gym called Slay. She has her own personal training gym and she's just amazing. Her name's Louise Hazel. She's just one of my best friends, and she's incredible.
Oh, I love that.
So-
Louise, I've never met her before.
She's an ex-Olympian. She's phenomenal. You should actually have her on a podcast. She's phenomenal.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I like my whole thing. I'm like obsessed with
Oh,
like,
then you'll
fitness.
love her.
Oh, yeah. You don't know anything about me, girl. You have no
I'll
idea.
connect
Okay.
her.
Yes. I would definitely.
I need to have you on my podcast.
I would. Do you have a podcast?
No, it's coming out.
when?
Yes, it's coming out in January.
Really?
So this will be out.
Oh, yeah.
after-
Let's be like way before
Okay, so
that.
my podcast is called A Really Good Cry. And
Oh, yeah. You do cry.
yeah, I do cry a lot. That's why it is I release all my emotions through crying. And so it's called A Really Good Cry. It's going to be everything to do with just women and our mind and our bodies and just all of that. So definitely have to have you
Oh
on.
my
That'd be
God.
amazing.
100%. I would love that.
So I work out in the morning,
Oh, yeah.
weight training. I used
How
to
long do you weight train?
An hour. It's like an hour session that
Okay.
I'll do.
No cardio?
Yes, so I'll do maybe like 10 to 15 minutes of cardio, then we'll do weight training. And that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then Thursday, I'll do more cardio, less weight training.
How much cardio? I like to know the specifics.
Oh, yes. Oh,
I do, yeah.
so I'll do, like the other day I did 60-minute, but it was mixed between high incline walking and sprints.
Oh,
So
okay.
I do like high incline, that makes sense,
Yeah, high
right?
incline,
Walking on high incline, and then I'll sprint in between and then do that. And then
What
Saturday.
would you sprint at? I have to know. Like,
Oh,
it's the
okay,
details.
yeah. So I've been sprinting at. So I start off my sprints at 7.5, and then I will go up to like 10.
That's a fast sprint.
Yeah, but only for like 30 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, you do a 30-second
Yeah.
sprint? Okay,
Well,
many?
no, if it's lower, I'll do like a minute to 2 minutes, and then I'll build up, and then I'll do lower time but higher speed.
Higher speed.
Yeah.
So how many sprints in that 60 minutes will you do?
So what I usually try to do is, so I'll walk for the first 10 minutes to warm up, and then I will do 5-minute high incline walk, and then I'll sprint. 5-minute high incline walk, and then I'll sprint.
So you go back and forth.
Yeah.
And when you do your walk, okay, I know that's what I'm like crazy with this stuff.
No, I love it.
I'm like obsessed with
Yeah.
this. Okay, so you do a 15 incline. What's the speed, or what's your
Yeah, so
thing?
again, I like building up as I'm going through. So I'll
Okay.
probably start off at like a 8 incline, and then I'll make it up to the 15 by the end of it.
Okay, and what speed?
What do I usually do for that? So it depends. So it's between like 3.5, and then it can go up to like 4.55. I can't go any higher on that. That's too. No,
Yeah,
5 is
that's-
running speed. Sorry,
That's right.
3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Now, this is like a silly question, but you have great long hair. Do you have to put it into a bun all the time and like make sure you don't like get it?
Well, my hairdresser keeps telling me, she was like, because I noticed that my hair was like thinning at the front. She was like, stop tying your hair back.
Into the bun. That's what happens, right?
Yeah,
Because
so
it's always
I'm
in the
learning
back.
to keep it long. Thanks, Courtney.
Yeah.
I'm learning to just keep it out, but it ends up
You
being
run like that?
no. When I when
Yeah.
sorry, when I run, yeah, I have to bun it, or I'll do a low bun.
Oh yeah, you have
But
to
then
do
it
something.
just falls about everywhere. Either it's right at the top here, because otherwise, if it's here, it's too heavy.
Yeah.
It's either here when I'm running, or it's
the bottom.
or I do 2 plaits.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Sorry,
2 braids.
that's a silly question. Okay, so then you do that's what you
Do my workout,
Yeah.
then I come back home.
What
and-
time is it now?
Okay, so my workouts usually, well, it used to be 7 to 8, but since I'm trying to get back into my
Right.
spiritual stuff, it's 8 to 9.
Okay.
And then I come back home and I will make my protein shake. And then my workday starts.
Do you put fruit in that protein shake?
So sometimes I will put strawberries in with my vanilla because I like a strawberry
Yeah.
fruit combo. And I use almond milk. So almond milk, the fruit, vanilla, and maybe a mix of the 2 proteins. And then I'll sometimes put some kale in if I want to. And
I was hoping to get a good recipe because you are a chef.
oh yeah,
Yes,
so
give me
mine
some-
just changes sometimes. So okay, I would do strawberries, my vanilla protein, a scoop of my vanilla protein, a scoop of my chocolate protein.
You put vanilla and chocolate.
I do because I really like the mix of both.
I should try
It tastes
that.
really good with strawberries, and then
Do you put banana?
I can't do banana. It increases mucus in the body. Just FYI.
I was going to say, you know what else it does? When you,
I don't like too much. I don't like my things being too sweet either.
well, you know, when you take a banana and you mix it into a blender.
Yes.
The high glycemic, it's like no one knows that, but the
No,
glycemic.
I use avocado instead.
That's a great, I was going to say that
Yeah.
because bananas actually like spike your glycemic index
Yes.
so high.
Yeah.
People you should have like a McDonald's milkshake at the same time.
Exactly.
People don't realize
yeah,
that.
even when I have smoothies out, I always ask them to substitute with avocado.
Yeah.
And
Good fat.
then I really find that after my workouts, I need more carbohydrates. I used to try and just do my protein shake, and I realized I need fuel.
Yeah.
And so I either will put in some oats into that, or I'll put in this gluten-free You guys don't have Weetabix here. I bring it from London.
Yeah, I know what it is. Though.
But like Weetabix
yeah.
or a cereal or something that I'll like put into, I make it like a smoothie bowl and then I'll just kind of sprinkle that on top with some nuts and I'll eat that. Or what I'll do is if I'm still hungry after my protein shake, about half an hour later, I'll do a toast with hummus and some like cucumbers, tomatoes, sprouts, that kind of situation.
I like that. Okay, then what do you do after your workout? Then you go into work, or what do you do?
Then I go into work. Then we're done.
Which is what, like, you make all your little videos.
So I have everything from Junie, which is our sparkling tea brand. So I have meetings and calls for that.
How's it doing, by the way?
It's good.
Yeah?
It's a slow process, you know. Products are no joke. It takes a while, but
very much so. Where do you sell it? Erewhon for sure.
Right now, Erewhon, and it's going into everything from Lassens to.
Lassens is probably a UK thing, is it? Oh no,
it's
Lassens here.
Here, and then it's going into pretty much all the bigger stores here now. So yeah, we've got Junie meetings, and then I create content. So I've started to try and plan out my content. So filming food recipes, doing all my recipes for, doing all my content that I need to create for when the book comes out. Been on lots of book meetings. And what else are we doing? Yeah, content going on podcasts, doing my podcast now.
So how many are you doing before you release it?
Well, right now, so it was meant to launch in October, but because of everything that was happening online, it just didn't seem like the right time to launch anything or to, you know, try and promote anything. And so it's moved to January. So right now I've already done, I think I've done like 8 solos and done like 8 guest episodes. I've already filmed so many.
Are you joking?
No, I've done a lot, which is great because my book comes out in February. Or, you know, it's already out. My book is out, so I just had a lot to do. So I thought better to just pre-plan and get lots done before we launch.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I definitely want to be on your podcast.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
I need to hear so much more about you. I feel like I need to get to know you.
Exactly. I know, you know nothing.
I'll do a deep dive before my podcast with you.
Well, yes. Well, I think that's sometimes the best way. Like, I didn't want to know so much about you either because then it's not authentic when I knew like little dribs and drabs, but I didn't want to know too much.
No, this was such a great conversation.
Yeah, this was really fun. Thank you so much for like coming on. So tell everyone, just in case they don't know, where to find your beautiful page of wellness and amazing tips and tricks. I mean, listen, I just learned so much on this podcast.
This was a good deep dive.
This was. I mean, listen, you're like literally got so much information. So tell people how to find you.
Radhi Devlukia on Instagram. My podcast is A Really Good Cry. And what else is there? Oh, my sparkling tea company is Junie Tea.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Do you go by you don't put Shetty on the last of your name?
No, we never did. I never took. I was like I really wanted to keep my dad's name.
Yeah, I can see now. I know
all women in the family, and also I have a thing about like, especially in Indian culture, it's so much about the women taking on everything, and the man doesn't usually. And Jay really didn't care at all. But I was like, if the man doesn't take your name and you don't take his name, it's equal. Like we're fine. Either we both double barrel, or we keep our names. And I think that's a really. I personally feel strongly about that.
I kept my name too. That's why I was
did you? Nice.
That's why I thought it was kind of cute that you said that. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yes, it really is. Bye.
Bye, everyone.